Hi, hope you are doing well. In the last part, we saw that Yan Bei missed Chu Xiao's presence. Hong Ye was woken up by the sounds of rain at dusk. She sat on the mat in the big lonely palace, as her greenish blue robe was slightly tinted with sweat. As the cold wind blew towards her, chills travelled up her spine through the cold beads of sweat, causing some goosebumps to appear on her skin. She rubbed her skin gently, only to discover that her fingertips were colder. On the other side of the mat, a clean white letterhead lay there quietly. It had been slightly damaged, showing that it had been used many times. The contents of the letter read, "The situation is critical. Rather, you have three options. Firstly, you can eliminate the Nalan family and its young emperor, then imprison the eldest princess and kill the king of Wujiang. This way, you can assume full control of political power in Song. Secondly, you can marry the eldest princess and give yourself the title of King of Shenzhen. This way, you can deal with the King of Wujiang, abandon the province along the eastern region, and preserve the land by the capital. Thirdly, you can ask Wei for a union through marriage, but you can't afford to reel up the royals of Wei. In case they are ousted and replaced, this person needs to have considerable military power, needs to be an appropriate age, needs to be one of the noble aristocrats there with considerable backing and power. Most importantly, this person needs to be ambitious enough politically to cover after the Wei Emperor. Once the wedding invitations are sent out, the king of Wujiang would not dare to dispatch troops towards the capital. Once spring is over, when Jiang Yong sends his army over to the eastern regions, the crisis will be averted. We can sit together. It's so beautiful. There was no need to study the letter further under the lights. Everything had been internalized. Hong Ye leaned by the side of her bed quietly, a deep look in her eyes. There was actually another way, which was for Yan Bei and Song to form a union through marriage. Not only would the crisis regarding the king of Wujiang's rebellions be averted, Yan Bei's force would be further strengthened. They would be able to sandwich Wei from the east and the west, reinforcing each other. However, he was naturally reluctant to do so. He had never thought about this before. A man of appropriate age with considerable military power, born in the noble families of Wei and power-hungry. How many people like this exist in this world? Presently, Wei and Yan Bei are engaged in battle. The resulting conflict between Qinghai and Wei would be the perfect opportunity for Yan Bei to strike, inflicting heavy damage on both armies. She She had thought of the various scenarios way beforehand, but did not verbalize her response for a long time.
Like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here.
Yanshon was indeed formidable. His words were sufficient enough to brew up a torrential downpour in Wei. However, he did not expect one thing. His brother, Xuanmo, was actually the eldest princess of Song, Nalan Hongye.
It's so beautiful. You and me.
She gathered some strength at the fingertips to hold the white letterhead tightly. With a low voice, she muttered to herself, "Brother, since you have this intention, what's wrong with me lending you a helping hand?" Two years ago, news of Yuwen Yue's death spread back to Wei. As the Wei troops at Yamin Pass had also suffered a heavy defeat, his reputation was utterly ruined. No one expected him to mastermind such a resurgence in Qinghai 2 years later, leading his troops back to his past country of residence with glory, much less become the most powerful man in the court of Wei. Even Prince Yang had to respect him. Presently, the princess of Song had offered her hand to him. Once Yuwen Yue had married her with the land of Wei in their hands, along with the military force of Qinghai and the backing of Song, his family's influence would jump up another notch. Yuwen Yue would undisputedly become the most powerful official in Wei Empire. Despite this potentially terrifying consequence, the Yuan family was unable to resist this risk opportunity.
Like a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting
Here, Nalang Hongwei, princess of Song Empire, acted as a boy, and she named herself Xuangmu, one of the army general in Song Empire. When they once meet Yanshon,
The world seems small.
we will soon see this in the upcoming parts.
Sit together. It's so beautiful.
Thank you for staying with me, and I am going to share the story continuously. Stay with me, subscribe and like the video to support me. Thank you.